There are AC motors everywhere in our society. Motors like this are used to operate pumps, fans, compressors, well, any type of moving equipment, and they are really heavy on energy. It has been estimated that around 2/3 of all the energy that we generate within the EU is used to operate motors like this. Controlling the speed these motors operate at using a frequency inverter saves huge amounts of energy, and they work better too. But there's a serious problem with using conventional type inverters. They generate electromagnetic interference, which can affect all kinds of electrical equipment that we use in our everyday life, like computers, mobile phones, radio, TV, alarm systems, and so on. Also more sophisticated equipment in other types of environments like hospitals, labs, airports, TV studios, etc. Wireless is particularly vulnerable. I will now demonstrate how we can operate an electric motor using a frequency inverter. First, using a conventional PWM inverter. This is the technology all other inverters use today. Then, with the unique Swedish NFO Sinus inverter. First, we switch on the PWM inverter. Here on the oscilloscope, we can see how the output to the motor gives the typical square wave curve, which is what gradually gets into the network and interferes with all kinds of equipment. PWM inverters always need to have filters and shielded cables fitted to reduce interference, which makes installing them fiddly and expensive. And we have to ask ourselves, is the result really interference-free? Let's turn off that dreadful noise. Now let me instead demonstrate the NFO Sinus. I take it you can hear the difference in sound. And here on the oscilloscope, we can see how the NFO Sinus feeds a pure sinus voltage to the motor. That's what makes this inverter totally interference-free. All PWM type inverters must be installed with expensive shielded cabling like this between motor and inverter. With the NFO inverter, normal unshielded cable will do. That means you save massively on the cost when buying cable. And above all, it makes installation much easier and cheaper. Your existing unshielded cable can stay where it is, and you don't have to bother about running any new cable. And the distance between motor and inverter can be just as long as you like, several hundred meters. As the earthly currents of the NFO Sinus are so low, 2 milliamps at the most, it can be used with RCDs. That's not something you can do with conventional inverters. They generate too much earth leak. Furthermore, NFO gives a 5-year warranty against damaged bearings. We can do this because our inverters are totally free from bearing currents, which can otherwise cause expensive breakdowns. Here we use an instrument to measure the bearing currents in the motor. From the NFO inverter, no bearing currents. And from a PWM inverter. So, instead of trying to reduce interference from conventional inverters, choose an interference-free inverter in the first place. Choose NFO Sinus.